For untold millennia, ancient kingdoms were built upon triumphant warriors and armoured knights that gained their lands by sword and shield. In these ancient times, it was known as the industry of nations. The ancient armourers' skills could spell victory or defeat for an entire army. Their techniques, never written down, became whispered secrets shrouding their world in mystery and faith. Join artists Gary Chadmadian and Gregory Podgorny from Los Angeles, California, in their 120-year-old blacksmith studio on their quest to unlock these ancient secrets by recreating selected pieces from some of the finest arms and armor collections from around the world.
In ancient times, the armorer had a really important job. In society, he was known as the steel tailor. Everything had to be made by the blacksmith or the armorer, and metal was worth its weight in gold. So they were at a very high status. And the better you were at your skills, the higher up you dealt with the nobility. So the top armorer or the top blacksmith in the town or the village would be dealing with like the king and the nobles and would be held in really high esteem. I have a master's degree in sculpture, which is really in bronze casting. So I always had a love for hot metal. Except my initial education was in molten metal. So now I've kind of moved into sheet metal working. I came to find out about 5 years ago when my father did a family history search that our last name and our family shield depicts armorers. And so I found out that in 1000 AD, probably some guy looked just like me was beating on a piece of metal, making a suit of armor. And that's where our last name came from. It's in my blood.
During the seasons of Beowulf, an eternal sword named Skofnung was born in the fire spits of Denmark, wielded by its oldest son. A great and fearless warrior was he, hero to us all, Hrolf Hraaki. For countless seasons, Skofnung remained true, with special instructions that must be imbued, a magical gift in the form of serpents times 2. Many a great battle did Skofnung and Hraaki face, until that final day that Hraaki was sent to his eternal resting place. For untold centuries he slept, and Skofnung too, until a Viking raider named Skeggi slipped into his tomb, defacing the king's chamber and defiling all law. He was in disbelief. A king's sword is what he saw. Trembling and shaking, legendary Skofnung he drew, and wielded it to the gods to create law anew.
Well, I think what's most exciting about what my partner Gary and I are about to do with the show is that we're essentially going to be Sherlock Holmes of the metal workers. There are a lot of ways to make a suit of armor, and a lot of people debate whether it was done hot, whether it was done cold. Did they hit it on the inside of the suit of armor, or did they only hit it on the outside? And by going to these museums and seeing these pieces firsthand, we'll have a better idea how each nation and each group kind of developed one to the next, because it's just a historic progression. To design and create a medieval helmet, or let's say a Viking era helmet, a lot of people do it strictly cold working. I do it hot, and so my first method will be metal raising. And what I'll do is I'll take this hot, flat sheet of metal, I'll set it on a little stake, a little type of anvil called a ball stake, and then I'll start to beat on it while it's hot and essentially compact the metal and raise it up to a point. And after I do that, I'll kind of what's called bougie the piece, which is dome it out into almost like a half sphere. And then from there, I'll take it down and make it really tight like a cone. And from that conical shape, I'll clean it up on a way of using a special hammer called a planishing hammer. And I'll go through and I'll planish the whole thing out to give it a really smooth surface. After that smooth surface, I grind it, I polish it, and then I'll make ear flaps and a bronze nose piece that they would have worn a long time ago. Add a leather strap, and there's your helmet. Knowing that There were thousands and thousands of armorers that lived in the past, and only few have really been documented that we know of. One was a really great emperor named Maximilian. He kind of changed the face of armor making with a new style and new ideas and new techniques. There's a really great manuscript that came from Maximilian's time that shows he and his armorers all working in the atelier. My partner Gary and I both used that drawing to not only make new anvils and tools, but we literally learned techniques from this drawing itself.
On my final day, many hymns shall be sung of a warrior king of old, Emperor Maximilian. The greatest armorer, he will forever be recalled, not only a great statesman, but teacher to us all. Father of the joust, a wondrous name I am given. My love for the tournament remains undriven. To understand the armorer's craft, I have studied with the greatest, and now I keep them by my side. Their company I do favor. If only I had been just a man, I would choose for my life's labor the wondrous gifts of hammer and anvil, and the life of a steel tailor. Follow two modern-day armorers on their journey to recreate some of the world's finest arms and armor, revealing secrets shrouded in mystery for millennia. Since the time of Beowulf, audiences have had an insatiable fascination with heroic folklore. From films, television shows, and the vast popularity of the Renaissance fairs, all strive to keep the heroic ideals of chivalry alive.